was dead, so that's why I'm using this. That one is charged. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين بالقاسم محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا أما بعد ومن كلام له عليه السلام في مثل ذلك أرضكم قريبة من الله من الماء بعيدة من السماء خفت عقولكم وسفحت حلومكم فأنتم عرض لنابل وأكلة لآكل وفريسة للصائل صدق أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب عليه الصلاة والسلام اللهم صل على محمد. We are on khutbah number 14 from Nahj al-Balaghah. These are again very short khutbahs. You saw it's only 4 or 5 liner. This is the continuation of the previous khutbah. If you want to look at it from that aspect, previous khutbah was talking about the battle of Jamal and condemnation to the people of Basra. Here Imam is continuing to condemn the people of Basra with another set of attributes and accolades, if you want to call it. Imam, as previously mentioned, this statement is another part of the extensive sermon delivered by Amir al-Mu'mineen. You know, I'm sure in a Jummah khutbah, he was delivering a sermon of Jummah right after the battle, and Imam spoke these words. So Syed Rizvi divided them into different parts so that they can be highlighted better. Instead of all being jammed together in one lengthy khutbah, he divided them because of their eloquence and how they could be, put apart, set apart, and could be considered standalone khutbahs. Imam here criticizes the people of Basra after the Battle of Jamal. In brief statements, he refers to 7 points. So if you count, there are 7 points that are being mentioned in this entire 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That ardukum qariba, your land is close to water. Ba'idatan min as-sama, it's away from the sky. Your wits or your uqul have become light, and your minds are full of mistakes and folly. You are aim of the archer, meaning if someone is pointing a gun at you, you're the victim. You're the one in front of it. And you're a morsel of the eater. Someone is consuming you, devouring you, and you are the one which is being consumed. And lastly, farisatan lis-sa'il, and an easy prey for the hunter. And so you get the gist of what Imam is trying to tell these people of Basra. That you were deceived, you were eaten up, you were devoured, you were chewed up, you were the victim, you were standing in front of the bullet, you took it, you were all that. All the last 5 attributes make sense. The first 2, that you are closer to the water and you are away from the sky. There's a debate over this when Imam says your land is close to water and you are far from sky. Debate is between the commentators of Nahj al-Balaghah regarding whether these 2 statements refer to the material aspect, that they were literally close to water and they were away from the sky. Well, if that's the case, we're close to water, right? And we are away from the sky as well. Everybody is away from the sky. So meaning the proximity to the sea and river, thus naturally being, far from any place would be far from a sky for that matter, or whether they refer to the spiritual aspect, that you're close to water. Water is means of life. Water means hayat. It is, revives the land, right? Allah talks about it in Quran on numerous occasions that we sent water to revive the land. So is it referring to it in a spiritual sense that, meaning that although the land of your hearts is close to life-giving water, of the Imam's presence. So Imam's presence is like a water for you. He's there with you. Imagine Imam-e-Waqt being amongst us. He's like that source of light. He's with us. So Imam's presence with you is like close to being water spiritually. Your heart is close to it. But at the same time, you are away from the divine mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because you neglect the commands of Imam. You did not obey the commands of Imam. Because you're not obeying the commands of Imam, you're away from the sky. So it could be both of these meanings. However, apparent meaning is with the reference to the literal sense, earth and sky, which means the verbal earth and the verbal, or the rather visible earth and the visible sky. In the first interpretation, of course, there's no dispute that their land was close to. If you look at Basra today, where it's situated, Basra is right on the border and it's close to the body of water. Even the Strait of Hormuz and that body of water is close to it. A river also crosses nearby it. So literally speaking, it is close to a body of water. So Imam is not making up stuff in which, for example, talking about a place which is landlocked. It is far, far away from water. So it is, visibly speaking, close to the water as well. And it's a coastal area, especially lands like Basra where large river passes by and flows into the sea, subjecting it to significant tides. So they are close to the water, literally speaking. But regarding how it is far from the sky, some commentators, and I saw this for the first time, of Nahj al-Balaghah have said that astrologers, according to their observations, have proven that the farthest inhabited area on earth from a sky is the village near Basra called Ubullah. That place is the farthest inhabited place. No one can argue in today's science and technology that every land in the world could be treated the same way. And what is a sky? What do you mean by sky? What is it that is being referred to as the sky? Is it the sky which Quran talks about? Lam tarawna, that you don't see the pillars keeping it up high. Is that what the sky means? So here there's a debate, but we'll keep it to the spiritual sense because that makes more sense. Imam is saying your land is close to water and you're far from the sky. What are we going to take it in the sense? We're going to take it in a spiritual sense. Imam is the source of water. Imam is the source of life. He's compared himself to water. Imam is with you. You're neglecting him. And you're away from the divine mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's probably a better assumption, if anything. Now, the third and the fourth and the fifth and the sixth and the seventh segments, they are very easy to understand, so I'll go through this quickly. Your minds are shallow and your thoughts are foolish. The clear reason for this statement by the Imam is the same as mentioned in the previous sermons as well. They easily surrendered to the whims of Talha and Zubair. Talha and Zubair were so quick to manipulate them, and so they gave in very quickly. Sacrificed thousands of lives to protect who? Mu'mineen's camel. And eventually succumbed with defeat and disgrace, regretting their actions. Even Talha and Zubair, they were regretting what they had done. So people of Basra were the same way. Regarding the difference between uqul and hulum, as the two words that are used over here, khaffat uqulukum wa safihat hulumukum, that Allah is using two words over here, uqul and hulum. So even the translator here says, your wits, meaning your aql, have become light, wa safihat hulumukum, and your minds have become, foolish. So two words are used, aql and hulum are used to describe mind and your intellect, for example. Uqul is the plural of aql, and hulum is the plural of hulm, meaning forbearance, or hilm rather, meaning forbearance. It can be understood from Imam's usage over here that hilm is an effect of aql. Hilm comes only when there's aql. Otherwise, usually people who don't show any forbearance, If something is happening and if it's going against them, they'll get agitated. They'll, start screaming, they'll start shouting, they'll become annoyed by it easily. People can annoy them so quickly, get under their skin, right? They don't have that forbearing aspect. And we mentioned this forbearing sifat to imams, how a person came and spoke to our fifth imam, making fun of imam's name, or making fun of imam's mother. Imam was forbearing. Or when you speak about Imam Musa al-Kadhim, that same way, Kadmul Ghayth, how he was able to suppress his anger. The one who is able to suppress the anger is considered Halim or has Hilm. So, Hilm is the effect of Aql. In other words, Aql is the power of human perception and thoughtfulness, self-restraint, and consideration in actions are the results of this aql. So you think through things before you do it. What is that famous qawl of Amir al-Mu'mineen in the same Nahj al-Balaghah? He says, "Al-mar'u makhbu'un tahta lisanihi." Insan is concealed and hidden behind his tongue. Or lisanul aqil wara'a qalbihi. The tongue of an aqil, an intellectual man or woman, is behind his heart. Why behind the heart? Because he speaks and the heart, filters it before it can come out to the tongue. وَلِسَانُ الْأَحْمَقِ, or it's the opposite. The foolish person, his tongue is, ahead of it. He speaks and then he thinks about it. सोचने के बाद से, बोलने के बाद से सोचता है, oh, I should not have said that. But aqil is someone who thinks, runs it through the heart, filters it before he utters it from the tongue. Why? Word uttered from the tongue is like the arrow that has been shot, cannot come back. And that's why Imam emphasized it even in other areas. Or this is probably a share in Arabic. Jarahatus sinan lahal tayam. The wounds that are caused by, weapons, sinan is plural, is weapons, they can be healed. So if you get hit by an arrow, if you get hit by a bullet, if you get hit by a sword, you can get healed. Ma jarahal lisan la yaltama lahu. But that which is wounded by a tongue, there's no cure for that. So you can get wounded by an arrow, but you'll be healed, in some time. But if you're wounded by a tongue, that is something which will not heal. That'll remain. So, coming back over here, the people of Basra, having shallow intellect, naturally had weak thoughts and were quickly agitated by the malicious propaganda of those driven by desires. For this reason, in the 5th and the 6th segment, when Imam says, فَأَنْتُمْ أَرَضٌ لِلنَّابِلِ غَرَضٌ لِلنَّابِلِ, he said, thus you are easy target for the archers. When someone is doing archery, if the target is huge, big, it's not a small dot, right? A bullseye is a big target. It's very easy to get. Everyone can shot it. So he says, you're an easy target for the archers, a delicious morsel for the devourers, and a good prey for the hunters and the predators. It is evident the simple-minded people of Basra and shallow people easily fall into the traps of religious and faith hunters. Even today. How many people you see that they are completely occupied by some religious figures, not even religious, pseudo-religious. And, their taweez and their all these other activities which has completely occupied them. They don't have faith and belief in the medicine which Imam is saying take it. But they have faith and belief in, some spell, for example. Or even today in this part of the world, which is not a religious society, even in secular societies, people are driven by these sources who are reading them, their psychic readings and whatnot. They're telling them and controlling them. And how many people? This is a sign of, shallow minds and foolishness as well. Imam says, therefore, the best way to safeguard human societies against such deceivers is to elevate the level of public thought and make people aware of the various social and political issues which Islam emphasizes. One of the key purposes of the Friday khutbah and the Friday prayers, it's not just 2 rakat salat, it's got 2 sermons as well. Is to, on a weekly basis, create this awareness in the minds of the people, bring them closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, make them muttaqi and parhezgar ones, fearful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why the khutbah begins with fear Allah, have taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, have piety of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If the people of Basra had reflected on their actions and understood the conditions of their time and place, they would have never been manipulated by the likes of Talha and Zubair, and of course, eventually by al-Mu'mineen. Pledge their allegiance to their imams, rise against him, suffer heavy casualties, and ultimately face defeat and disgrace. Last segment, inshallah, I'll conclude with it, regarding the difference between the 3 sentences. So you look at these 3 sentences. فَأَنْتُمْ غَرَضٌ لِنَابِلٍ. You are the aim of the archer. وَآكِلَةٌ لِآكِلٍ. Morsel of the eater. And an easy prey for the hunter. Question. Are they not all 3 same things? Different words, right? What is the gist of these 3 sentences? Imam says, you are aim of the archer, you are morsel for the devourers, and you are prey to the hunter. Isn't just 3 different ways of saying the same thing? Right? That's what it seems like, right? But you think Imam will use 3 different things to just mention one? This is against the eloquence of Imam, number 1. Guess what? Commentators had a great deal of time to even ponder over this and come out that no, these 3 refer to 3 different things that Imam is speaking about, these people of Basra. And of course, they back it up with their claims of the history of these people. So I'll conclude with this. When Imam says these 3 things, it is worth contemplating whether these sentences convey the same meaning with different expressions, or if they refer to the different aspects of the issues, different aspect of the same issue. It is not unlikely that each sentence refers to a different dimension of the matter. First indicates forgetting, when he talks about that the people of Basra, Antum gharadun linabil, you're the aim of the archer. The first sentence indicates targeting from a distance. How does an archer attack? Close by or far away? He's going to stay far, and he's going to shoot from far away. He's going to sit where you can't even see him sometime, right? Behind the bushes. And from there, he's going to shoot, and then you're caught by surprise. So Imam is using this first analogy to say that, O people of Basra, you were shot at from a far distant, not from close by. So the manipulations were from far distant, implying that even if you are far from political manipulations and the manipulators, they will still hunt you down. The third sentence, let's go to the third one. Farisatan lis-sa'il, and an easy prey for the victim. They will still hunt you, that even from a close range. So now that they have gotten you from far distance, you've been wounded, now they'll come and slaughter you from nearby. So you were first attacked from far away, like an archer does. Now you're being attacked from right in front of your eyes. And then, of course, the second sentence describes the final outcome of the prey. What do you do with the prey? You eat it. So imagine like a hunter. Hunter is not going to go close to, let's say, a deer. Why? The deer will run away. So hunter hides himself and shoots at the arrow at the deer. Deer gets injured, runs up to the deer. Now the deer is, of course, unable to run away, will not be able to attack back. What does he do? Gets closer, slaughters him, does the zibh. Once the zibh is done, what is this food now? You go ahead and eat it. So these are the 3 steps that Imam mentions comparing the people of Basra. You were attacked from far, you were slaughtered from nearby, and then you were consumed by these people. It should be noted that these 3 sentences and the reproaches are directed at the group that became tools of the sowers of discord. These are the people who caused discord in the society. This is the reason why you had Nakisin, Mariqin, Qasitin, the people of Nahrawan and the Khawarij. That is the reason they came into existence, right? So when you look at the people got so much power. Of course, it was after Siffin, but Siffin and then Jamal happens right after that. So you see that this was the reason that was becoming, that you can easily challenge the Imam of the time. You can easily challenge the Khalifatul Mustabeen. And so that became easy. People stop having belief in the Imam, and they say, well, both of them are wrong. Let's go ahead and wage war against them. However, in Basra, we find both at the same time, and in subsequent times, there were people of character whom the Imam praised, and in the explanation of previous khutbahs that we talked about. So it's not like all the people of Basra are at the same level. Sometimes when you hear Kufi la Yufi, that famous quote in Arabic, that the people of Kufa, they don't do wafa, Kufi la Yufi. Or in Farsi they say, Ma ahle Kufa nistim Ali tanha bimanat. We are not like the people of Kufa, that Ali remains alone. These are directed against the people of Kufa. Why? Because of their nature of, letting go, neglecting Imam Hassan, neglecting Imam Hussein, neglecting Amirul Mu'mineen. This is what the people of Kufa did. Kufa betrayed Imam Ali. Kufans, to an extent, had hand in the betrayal of Imam Hassan, and as well as, of course, Imam Hussein, many of them. But at the same time, it was the very people of Kufa that stood by Imam Hassan alayhi Imam Hussein alayhi. You look at all those people who were martyred in Karbala, many of them were from where? Kufa. So it's not like when Imam condemns the people of Kufa or people of Basra, it means that the entire city and every single person is like that. There were many noble personalities in Basra as well that Imam praises and shows respect towards them. Wa akhiru da'wan alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Allahumma. तो ये ज़ियारत